Alright, so our next category is somewhat of a fun one. We're doing Best Villain of 2009. Villains are sometimes the most interesting characters in a series. They can be so cruel, so cunning, and just so interesting in their ways of destroying the plans of the protagonist. And there's so many different varieties of villains, and I mean, sometimes they're just really cool to look at because they can break that normal sort of I'm a hero with a giant sword feel. They can be whatever the creator wants them to be, as long as they stop the hero from doing what they want. And so to show this off, we've decided on a whole category for them, and for my pick, I chose Beatrice from Umineko no Nakakura ni as my pick for villain of 2009. She is just fits the villain role so perfectly. She's insane, but tries to be nice. She's directly connected to the characters. She's always sort of around them and just effing with their minds. But I mean, sometimes she seems like she wants to be nice, but maybe later you learn that it was all an act, or maybe it wasn't. You never really know. She's mostly just insane. So I mean, there's so many aspects to her, and just the way she can do things is so interesting that it easily makes for the best villain of 2009.
Yeah, for me, villains are probably some of my favorite characters in anime, just because I've said many times before on the show that I love the sort of twisted psychological characters. As I've said, my favorite character of all time is Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter, because you never know what he's all about. Sometimes he's being nice to the main characters, and then the next scene he's killing somebody just out of the blue, some random guy, just for the heck of it, because he wants to. So for me, Beatrice also is my pick for best villain, just because she has all the check marks, all the boxes for me. She's psychotic. You never know where she's coming from. Sometimes she's nice, sometimes she's not. It's just everything about her. I was just drawn to her completely as a character. I actually liked her more than the series overall. I think she really made that series in comparison to the rest of the cast. So when I think of Umineko, I immediately think Beatrice, and of course, best villain overall.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way about Umineko. It's all about the bee. And the viewers seem to agree with us. They also picked Beatrice for best villain.
Good pick.
There is something just truly interesting and psychotic about her as a character that makes her the best villain of 2009.
Okay, so next one is going to be best side character of 2009. So, an anime wouldn't be all that much if it was just, the two main characters going on their journey. There are some anime that do this, but it really helps to have, this sort of side cast to help them along their journey. This is where we're sort of commemorating, good side characters in anime. Now, my pick for this award, I'll say right off the bat, while he wasn't in very many scenes, only in certain episodes of this series, he definitely has a sort of lasting impression. He has this sort of, either you love him or you hate his guts sort of character status. And I'm somewhere in the middle. So I'm just going to say it. The character that I picked for best side character is Excalibur from Soul Eater. So immediately anybody who's seen Soul Eater knows where I'm coming from here, because there are times where he's just so off the wall, sort of crazy, and it's just you're wondering what the heck is he all about. But then there are times where he's just so freaking annoying, you just want to punch him in the face, and you can see this sort of interaction with the characters on screen. Like everybody who encounters Excalibur is just like, oh, what have I got myself into? So I definitely, whenever I think of Soul Eater, I really think of Excalibur. So I really definitely had to pick him for best side character.
For myself, I mean, there's just so many side characters out there that it was hard to decide, but there was one that really triggers some weird memories in my mind, and I thought she really made the series just a little bit more interesting. And that was Minorin from Toradora. She just had some weird character traits to her that just stuck in my mind, and it's not that she was such a major character or changed the whole course of the series or anything like that, but she was just odd, and I really liked how she handled things, especially near the ending, where she did something just what I thought was pretty incredible. So overall, she actually left some sort of impression on me that I don't think many other characters for 2009 did. And so she made it for the best side character for 2009 for me.
Okay, so viewers' choice is actually different from both of our picks. Viewers have decided that Aozaki Toko from Kara no Kyokai is their pick for best side character. And I can definitely see where they're coming from this one, because she is such an awesome character. While she's not, the main character like Shiki, she's in there. She has her own sort of, fighting and whatnot that she does. And just her sort of demeanor, the way she presents herself, is really cool. And you really want to, I actually really want to see a lot more of her throughout the series than they actually showed. So I was really liking Toko as a character.
Yeah, definitely in the climax episode of Karen Kyokai. She plays a starring role in this one part, and that part is so climactic and amazing. I'm almost convinced by this viewer's pick that my pick probably wasn't the best one, because that moment is so amazing in that series that I can see why she is. She's a magician who's a puppeteer, and just the things she can do with these puppets are amazing that you notice. But this one particular moment just blew me away, and especially I think it made it all the better because the series was so well animated that it's so incredible what she was able to do. And so I completely agree with the viewers that this is an excellent choice for Best Side Character. We have a special category here for the most underrated series of 2009. Now, we didn't really put too many restrictions on this series. It's not like it had to have a certain low view count or something like that.
Yeah.
We just said, if you think it's underrated, then you could vote for it and whatnot. And we sort of took that impression too. If we think that this series hasn't really been talked about a lot, hasn't really got the press it probably deserves, then we allowed it to put in this category. For myself, that series was Saki. So Saki was just such a fun series when it came out. It just had this feeling of these girls playing mahjong, and there's so many moments in that series where I was just like, hell yeah. That was just awesome. The series plot is pretty sketchy and generic and whatnot, and the girls are a little probably too sexualized for being how young they are. However, I didn't care about that. I just want to see these crazy mahjong games where they do just the silliest, weirdest crap I've ever seen done in a mahjong game that makes no sense. So, it's just fun. If you're looking for a fun series, you might have not have heard of this, why not check it out?
Mm-hmm. Now, for me, the pick that I chose for most underrated series was actually it was underrated by myself in the beginning. The first time I looked at the series, I was just sort of like, this is too weird for me. I don't think I'm going to get into this series, so I just sort of passed it along to the side. But something in me made me decide, months later, to maybe I'll give it another shot. There is something, I've heard that there's something there. I want to check it out. I'll try to get through the weirdness, and I'll deal with it. So the anime I'm talking about is Kuchu Branco, also known as Trapeze. So Trapeze just has this really sort of hard to break into sort of animation style where it uses real life sort of cutouts of actual human beings mixed with animation, and it's just it's such a trip that you're on. You feel like you smoke something really bad and you're just losing it. But at the same time, what it has in there is really sort of solid mini stories of these people dealing with these crazy psychological problems. And once I sort of got past the sort of hard to enter, the doorway of this weird animation style, I was really impressed with what I was dealt with. The characters, the main character, he's so crazy, he's so interesting, but he's also, determined to help all these individuals that he encounters over the course of the series. And I just think a lot more people should check it out. It's really hard to break into, but give it a couple episodes, and maybe you'll find something really nice, worthwhile.
Yeah, and I've checked out the series recently too, and I completely agree. It really is an underrated series, and is probably worth looking into. The viewers, though, agree with my choice for most underrated series in Saki. Honestly, I'm somewhat surprised, only because it's one of those series where, honestly, it's mostly generic. I'll admit, it is mostly generic, and Trapeze has actually something unique and obscure and interesting about it. Saki doesn't really have that, it's just really fun to watch. So, I agree with the viewer's choice, obviously, because I picked the same thing. But, I can agree with either of the two choices as a really good underrated series for the year.
I can also see why people pick Saki. It is just crazy over the top fun. When you see those mahjong tiles just zooming through space and hitting, the table in front of you, you're just like, oh wow, that is so crazy. I can't believe that just happened. And it really psychs you up. So I could definitely see why people were like, this is sort of underrated. More people should watch this, awesomeness that is before us. So I can agree with the viewers as well.